What up YouTube? It's your boy Mr. Ocelot, back again with another at-home product review. Today we're looking at the ShockWiz, which is, I think it's a spin-off of the bike component manufacturer SRAM. And yeah, I think the company's name is Quarq, and then the product is called the ShockWiz. And it's this gizmo here that's got all types of sensors inside. And what you do is you hook it up to your bike suspension. So in this case I have it hooked up to my forks, and it's measuring the changes in the air pressure of the fork as you ride your bike. So the whole idea behind it is to dial in your tuning based on the type of response that you want from your forks or your rear shock. So I hooked up my ShockWiz to both of mine and went for a couple of rides, and I'll share those results with you right now. By the way, for frame of reference, I'm riding a Cube Stereo Hybrid MPC Race 160, and the rear shock is a RockShox Deluxe Select, and up front I've got a RockShox 35 Silver. So like I mentioned, the ShockWiz can be used on either your forks or your rear shock. You could always get two and do it at the same time, but I didn't really think that was necessary. I just picked up one, and at first I hooked it up to my rear shock, which I couldn't find any manufacturer's recommended settings for my RockShox Deluxe Select, so I was just kind of guessing, and the first setting I tried was an air pressure of 158. That just felt normal to me. I had only ever tried that, but I learned from the ShockWiz that that's way too little air. So you see here on this suggestions page, it was recommending adding more than 20% more air. So I stepped it up to 188, and that greatly improved all the measurements. So you know, just like from every time I would ride, I would start a new session, and then when I got back, take a look at what it was recommending, and it kept recommending adding more air until, oh yeah, I actually ended up going to 233 psi. So from 158 to 233. That's crazy. But this was the only way for me to figure out, like, that's what the necessary pressure. I had tried like the 20% sag test on my own, but yeah, I was setting up the rear shock completely wrong. And as you can see here, the measurements all got much better. I still have some of these attributes in the yellow, but those are just kind of like a limitation of the shock. I ended up actually removing a spacer from this shock, which is what ShockWiz recommended, and that made it feel even better. And then I think I actually slowed down the rebound to bring the low speed rebound into the green. So the ShockWiz tuning of my rear shock was a huge success, and I ended up measuring a compression ratio using the ShockWiz of 2.4, and I settled on 235 psi as my baseline setting from now on. Next, I moved the ShockWiz over to my fork. Again, there was no recommendation for a rider of my weight with this fork, but the recommended settings did get me in the ballpark. So I started with 159 psi, and it's recommending that I add a spacer, so I'll definitely do that the next time I get my forks serviced. And you see here it's recommending that I slow down my rebound, so I just turned my rebound setting one click over. And yeah, the suspension's feeling a lot better. You can see here there's some statistics from my last ride, if that sort of thing interests you. In the case of my forks, the manufacturer's recommended settings were actually, pretty close to where I needed to be. But having that confirming info is actually really useful. If I didn't have this sensor, I would always wonder, could I set up this fork any better. Maybe when I add that spacer, it'll feel better. So now with the ShockWiz, you know. You don't have to just feel out what your suspension is like. You have real data telling you exactly how to dial it in. I still want to add that spacer, but I think with my forks, I've settled on a pressure of 155 psi. And using the ShockWiz, I measured a compression ratio of 1.9. So in conclusion, I highly recommend the Quarq ShockWiz if you're looking to tune your mountain bike suspension. It goes for, I think it was $346 is the last I saw it on Amazon. And I'll go ahead and post a link here in this video as well as in the video description. Personally, I bought this one for $200 used off of Pink Bike. You might be able to find one for like maybe $250 on eBay. And the nice thing about all three of those is that you could buy it temporarily, tune in your suspension, and then sell it for maybe $250 on eBay or $200 on Pink Bike. Alright guys, I hope you found this video to be useful. Keep riding, and until the next one, peace out.